let's focus on today. What's working well right now for CW Technologies and kind of what you guys are doing?
I like to say we're problem solvers. We have to kind of look at the customer and see, not everybody needs, or not everybody wants, and also needs, movie theater, but then some guys do in the screening room, or, whether it's a basic TV. We try to solve issues of, somebody wants a $5,000 65-inch TV, and the same guy that can buy 100 of those only needs, a $1,500 one, which is still a nice, Sony TV. But so I think just kind of solving problems for that without just looking at the dollar amount, because in the end, I think that gives you more longevity and trust with the clients.
Welcome into the Independent Thinking Podcast. This is your host, Rob Stott. One of the things I feel like I've said a bunch of times as we publish these podcasts is just how much I enjoy learning about the backgrounds of so many different independent business owners, and that's in the retail space and, of course, when you move over to the custom integration space as well, and learning how individuals either got into the business or it's part of a family legacy that they want to pick up and continue, and just the pride they feel around it, and just so many diverse backgrounds. And that certainly holds true for our members of Oasis Residential Technology Group in the custom integration space. And this week we talked with Carlos Warlick, the owner and founder of CW Technologies Audio Video Systems in California and out on the West Coast. And a guy that, I don't know at the start of his career if he thought he'd be getting into custom integration. In fact, back when he started the business, it wasn't even intended to be a smart home or audio system, AV system integration company. He was dealing with cars. And I think back to the old show, Pimp My Ride, right? And you remember the cars that would get tricked out. He was doing that. Even further back in his career, he got his start in the recording industry and basically serving as like an intern for some names that if we threw them out there, you'd likely know them, whether you're a fan of hip hop and the rap scene or not. But just such a unique background that he brings to the table, and interest in audio dynamics and just the ways you can create custom experiences in the home, and that's carried forward into CW Technologies and what he's doing today. And he was with us at the Oasis Summit in Austin recently and sat down with us to chat about getting into it and his background and the team he's brought together and what he's learning along the way and just so much more. So a really unique mind to be able to pick, and happy that Carlos was kind enough to sit down with us in Austin and allow me to do just that. So let's dive into it. This is Carlos Warlick of CW Technologies here on the Independent Thinking Podcast. All right, we are back on the Independent Thinking Podcast, coming live from Austin, Texas, in the Oasis Summit. Mr. Carlos Warlick, CW Technologies?
Yes, that's
in
correct. Los
Angeles, California, Southern Cal. How's it going being here
good.
at this summit,
Going
man?
pretty good.
Appreciate
Going
you
pretty
joining
good.
us.
It's been a great experience.
Yeah.
We're newer to the Oasis group, but we're
when did you guys join?
We joined around January,
Okay.
at the top of the year.
Awesome. So
Yes.
What made you sign the dotted line? What convinced you?
We had been looking at stuff and really just trying to grow and meet. And, I think I've always done a good job of networking with a lot of people.
Yeah.
All the different shows, CEDIA, and I was in Barcelona at ISE earlier in the year. And I've met a lot of great friends through, business that are spread out wherever. And it's just such a powerful thing to network and be able to pick up the phone and call somebody and say, hey, have you seen this problem, or have you done that, or, share intel.
New to the group experience?
So it was new to the group experience. So the group experience, we were drawn to it because of a couple vendors too that we saw that we were already working with, like IC Real Time or Sonance and different stuff. And we just wanted to kind of expand and, ultimately help our bottom line too.
Yeah, for sure.
That,
so why Oasis?
It was just, I think, one of it was, our rep, Jason Magic. Was,
good dude. I'll vouch for him.
He's a good sales guy. So he kind of, he just twisted our arm and just said, you better join the group or else,
Got it.
don't go anywhere else. No, but we looked at Oasis as being, we're a smaller company. And it just kind of seemed, there's a couple other groups out there, obviously, and you know, some of them deal, what my perspective was a lot of those deal with companies that were a lot larger. So we kind of wanted to be with, you know, like-minded,
Sure.
you know, and I know Oasis has always kind of branded themselves as, you know, we want to help a lot of people grow their business and do that. So it was just kind of combination of things.
Tell me about CW and I have to Chris Warlick, is that right? Is that where the CW?
Yeah, Carlos. Yes.
You are very inventive and creative, my man.
No, well, I had a company. I actually didn't want to name it that, but I had a company before. I've had basically, this is my third decade of working, and as we mentioned before we started, I started my career in recording and in the music industry. I was a recording engineer. I made a lot of records and did a lot of stuff, and that industry kind of changed financially. So I got into actually the 12-volt world of cars.
Okay.
And I had a lot of music producers that I worked with who I knew could kind of help me, not help financially start my business, but could be my clients.
Yeah.
Some big guys in the hip hop world, so I could get their cars in, and we were getting.
So you were pimping their rides before it was.
So we were doing that, and we were doing cars, but we always specialized in higher end because I had that background in recording. So I did that, and that company, originally it was called Soundmaster, and then it eventually turned into CW Motorsports because we got into more motorsports and doing more stuff, like you said, pimping the cars. And then when I started seeing, after about 8 or 9 years, I started seeing that business slow down because people stopped spending as much money on their cars. But I was always going to houses, so I would drop off their stuff, and I'm like, what's this big rack? They got like, you know, Trinov and all this stuff, and a lot of stuff that we would see in the pro world. So I had this idea to kind of change. So it was an easy transition because of the corporation I had to kind of do an overnight, like CW Motorsports, CW Technologies. Kind of like we've talked about at this show about not having audio video in your name, and because we're doing more stuff with lighting and different stuff.
Absolutely.
So I really wanted to come up with a whole new name, but I didn't want to seem like I changed my name because I'm hiding from people or, you know, or doing this. So it just kind of, even with my bank and everything just kind of was like, oh, CW Technologies, like it didn't skip a beat. So that's how it came
No, that's
about.
awesome. So I love that background story too, because it does speak to everything we've heard at this show from not the Oasis team, but you know the Jason Sayans and Matt Bernaths that are here, and keynote Mr. Tim Costello today, talking about the
predict the future,
right? That and like kind of seeing the Gretzky quote, right? Seeing where the puck's going, and knowing that you have to evolve as a business, so you're not afraid to step out of kind of what you were doing and what you were comfortable with, and that great example of it, man.
And that was it. And like I said, my first 10 years working, I started right after high school. I got lucky and got a job at a really good studio. Started, just picking up coffee and doing stuff, but it was for the top music producers in the world, and that ended up landing me a job. By the time I was 22 or 23, I was working with Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, and all these guys are making all these records, and it just, it all transitioned, and business wasn't really my focus. My focus was always having fun and looking at the art of doing the stuff. But because of that, because of the change in industries, I went to the cars, which eventually led me to the homes, which I don't feel like I could have started a different way with the approach that I have now with doing stuff. We try to do stuff on the kind of
knowing that you clearly see where that puck is going, right? Where do you kind of envision this industry heading in terms of the technology in the home, or do you think you're going to be doing something else?
I mean, I think it's gonna, the stuff we're seeing now with like the lighting and the lighting becoming digitally controlled and stuff that the electricians are not going to want to deal with, with lighting. We've already got into doing like the networks that we do are enterprise level networks and are better than networks that we put in personally in houses are better than what most small businesses have that are doing it, because a lot of there's just so I don't know, just going to there. But I think with the lighting and just taking over, I really believe there's always going to be a market for the luxury homeowner. Is always, I get the thing all the time where people say, oh, you could just buy this from Amazon or do this or Google or, Amazon. And But I'm like, these people always, the luxury market, always are going to want stuff done, whatever it is, like, you know.
Yeah, there's the convenient, for the everyday consumer, the convenience factor of that ammo. They want, not only do they want convenience at the luxury end, it's that it needs to work, right?
It needs
to work.
It needs to work. And they do, the houses we do, they have somebody that not only washes their cars, that walks their dog, that does this, because they're also busy being successful in what they do. So, you know, it's like you have a housekeeper and a nanny and the window washer and the dog walker comes, and it's a whole schedule. So they're always going to want that. So that's kind of where I've tried to focus to, you know, specialize in.
That's awesome. So let's focus on today. What's working well right now for CW Technologies and kind of what you guys are doing?
You know, I mean, I think what we're doing is, you know, really solving the problem. I like to say we're problem solvers.
Yeah.
You know, when we like to say, oh, we do home automation or we do this, but we have to kind of look at the customer and see what they need, whether, you know, not everybody needs or not everybody wants and also needs, you know, movie theater, but then some guys do in the screening room or, you know, whether it's a basic TV, we try to still stay at the high end, but solve issues of, you know, somebody wants a $5,000 65-inch TV, and the same guy that can buy 100 of those only needs, you know, a $1,500 one, which is still a nice, you know, Sony TV. But so I think just kind of solving problems for that without just looking at the dollar amount. Because in the end, I think that gives you more longevity and trust with the clients.
Yeah. Well, so you've been here. You mentioned it, January, first Oasis Summit. You know, what's the early group experience been like for you? What have you been getting out of?
You know, this is the first experience. You know, besides giving Jason a hard time. You know, it's been great. I mean, everything's been great. Meeting Hank and Andy and the guys, and I think everyone's been really welcoming. The other members in the group have been great, and as you saw on the floor, like a lot of guys. Kind of hanging out with, I kind of tend to do that wherever I go, but hang out with people like I've known them forever. And it's just, I think I'm kind of quick at like being able to judge people in a positive way. And there's a lot of positive people here. And also, again, I try to also just learn from the guys that have been doing it.
Yeah.
Focus on just this industry longer and just kind of, you know, pick up on what they're doing and, you know, what's right and just adapt.
Kind of looking ahead now, what excites you about being a member for down the road from now? Like, what are you looking forward to getting out of this group and your experience?
You know, I mean, I think besides picking up more stuff from the guys like, you know, Jason and Matt and what they're helping and doing with the companies, but also just streamlining stuff. Because, you know, I think being smaller, and you can still be smaller, but be really effective, you know, things like dealing with, you know, the vendors in the group or say like our Future Ready Solutions, they've solved a lot of problems for us because we've dealt with individually AV Pro and everything they sell is really good. But to get everything under one roof from them, and if we need technical support or if I need to have one of the guys call in, we know that they have that level of support. So probably streamlining and doing that, which ultimately leads to being more efficient, more lean.
No, it's a lot to learn here, a lot to learn. It's cool to see, you mentioned it, right? All the kind of between the action that's going on out there, the meetings that are happening, so much learning going on, you know, with the group, of course, you know, on the Oasis side, but watching you guys kind of, you know, the relationships bloom and
it's fun.
Right?
It's fun.
It's cool as hell, man.
It's really fun. And like I said, at every tech summit,
Yes.
I'm always at CEDIA and now ISE and seeing all that. It's just great. And it's great meeting the people from the actual manufacturers and the vendors, because that's the power in it, which helps us with our clients when there is an issue, because there always will be an issue of some sort, to be able to know that I can call this guy or I have this inside and I can expedite this or stuff can happen. So it's kind of a two-way street. You know, we support them and they support us. So
that's awesome.
You know.
Well, hey, we appreciate. I know I've taken up more of your time than I said I was gonna, but no, we want you to get back out there and you know, have a good rest of the show. But we appreciate it, man. Great chatting with you, Carlos.
I appreciate it.
You know, look forward to catching up down the road.
Likewise.
Awesome, and thanks again to Carlos for, like I said, giving us the chance to pick his mind and see what he's doing out there in California, and just again, a unique background. It's crazy to think how people get into this business and into these industries that we just selfishly get to cover and have a lot of fun doing so. So I appreciate him sharing that background and sharing his story. And as always, appreciate you listening to the Independent Thinking Podcast, and we'll catch you next time.